What if I told you that the medication your doctor prescribed you this month cost $40, $60, sometimes over $100, and there's a vegetable sitting in your grocery store right now for under $2 that works through the exact same biochemical pathway inside your arteries? You'd probably say that's impossible. You'd probably say if that were true, every doctor would already be telling their patients. And that right there is exactly the problem I want to talk to you about today. Because most of us were never told. And the consequences of not knowing this have been devastating for millions of older Americans who are doing everything they think is right and still watching their cholesterol numbers climb. I want you to stay with me all the way to the end of this video because I'm going to reveal something that almost no physician ever shares with their patients in a routine appointment. Something about the way your liver actually produces cholesterol and why one specific, humble, ordinary-looking vegetable has the biological machinery to interrupt that process at its source. This is not clickbait. This is physiology. And once you understand it, you will never look at your grocery cart the same way again. My name is Dr. David. I've spent decades working with older adults, men and women in their 60s, 70s, 80s, who come to me not just with test results, but with fear. Fear of the word statin, fear of side effects, fear that their bodies are failing them. And what I see over and over again is that the conversation about cholesterol is broken, it's incomplete, and you deserve the full picture. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you had your cholesterol checked and felt genuinely confident about what the numbers meant? Not just whether they were high or low, but what was actually happening inside your blood vessels at that moment. Most people don't know. They hear LDL is up, and the next sentence is a prescription. No one explains why. No one explains what the liver is doing. And that missing explanation is costing people their health. Here's what's actually happening. Roughly 70 to 80% of the cholesterol in your blood is not from the food you eat. It is manufactured by your liver. Your liver contains an enzyme called HMG-CoA reductase. Think of this enzyme as a tiny factory floor manager who is always on duty, constantly signaling the production line to make more cholesterol. Statins, Lipitor, Crestor, Zocor work because they chemically block that enzyme. They walk onto the factory floor and tell the manager to stop. And they work. For millions, they genuinely work. But they also come with well-documented risks, muscle pain, liver strain, and in some cases, cognitive changes that older adults absolutely cannot afford. This is not anti-medicine. This is honest medicine. Now, I want you to pause for a second. If you have someone at home who also struggles with their cholesterol, tag them. Share this video right now. Because what I'm about to explain is something both of you need to hear. And if this kind of real, no-nonsense health content is what you're looking for, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a video. I genuinely want to know. Drop your age and where you're from in the comments below. I read every single one, and knowing who I'm talking to helps me make better content for you. Now, here's where it gets interesting. And I need you to keep watching because in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you a critical mistake that even well-meaning people make when they try to use this vegetable. A mistake that completely cancels out the benefit. Don't skip ahead. You will regret it. The vegetable I'm talking about is the artichoke. Not artichoke dip. Not artichoke hearts in a jar swimming in oil. I mean the whole artichoke, or more specifically, artichoke leaf extract, which concentrates the two compounds that matter most, cynarin and luteolin. Here is the science, and I want to be clear, this is real, published, peer-reviewed science. Cynarin and luteolin, both naturally occurring in the leaves of the artichoke plant, have been shown in multiple studies to inhibit HMG-CoA reductase activity in the liver, The same enzyme, the same mechanism. In a meta-analysis reviewing data from human clinical trials, artichoke leaf extract was associated with meaningful reductions in total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol in adults with elevated baseline levels. In one frequently cited randomized controlled trial, a reduction of LDL cholesterol in the range of 18% over 12 weeks in participants with mild to moderate hypercholesterolemia. These are not dramatic, overnight numbers, but they are real, measurable, biologically plausible numbers, and they come without the muscle breakdown risk that causes so many older adults to stop their statins. And here's something I want to be completely upfront about. I always tell my patients that food and supplements work best as part of a broader, intentional strategy for cardiovascular health. That's why in the first link in the description below this video, I've left something I genuinely believe in, a method that many of my patients and thousands in the community are already using and recommending specifically to support cardiovascular health. This isn't something I'm promoting lightly. It's a resource for people who are serious about taking their heart health into their own hands, not just waiting for a prescription. Click that first link and see what it's about. It could genuinely change your trajectory. Now, I promised you I would tell you about the mistake. This is important. Many people hear artichoke is good for cholesterol, and they go buy a jar of marinated artichoke hearts in olive oil and call it a day. That is not the same thing. The therapeutic compounds in artichoke, cynarin and luteolin, are concentrated in the leaves, not the hearts. And cooking at high heat, plus prolonged exposure to oil and brine in those commercial jars, significantly degrades their bioavailability. If you're eating them for flavor, wonderful. But if you're eating them for your arteries, you need either fresh artichoke cooked lightly and consumed consistently, or a standardized artichoke leaf extract supplement, which is widely available and inexpensive. The extract form has been the one used in most clinical studies because the concentration is reliable. This is the detail that changes everything, and most people never hear it. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Frank. 71 years old, retired electrician from Ohio. Frank came to me after his wife practically pushed him through the door. His LDL was 168. His cardiologist had already suggested starting a statin. Frank wasn't opposed to medication. He was opposed to the fatigue and the leg cramps he had experienced on a statin years earlier and had never forgotten. So we talked. We went through his diet, his activity, his sleep, and we added a structured regimen of artichoke leaf extract at a clinically studied dose of 600 milligrams twice daily with meals, alongside a modest reduction in refined carbohydrates. 12 weeks later, his LDL had dropped to 138. Not enough to get him completely off the conversation about statins, but enough to give him agency, enough to show him that his body was responding. That is what I want for you. Now, here's the part I promised you at the beginning, the thing no one tells you. When we talk about cholesterol, we almost always talk about LDL. Lower your LDL, save your heart, end of story. But the research on artichoke leaf extract shows something that statins don't reliably produce on their own, a simultaneous increase in HDL, the protective cholesterol, alongside the LDL reduction. Some human trials showed HDL improvements in the range of 4 to 7%. That may sound small, but in an older adult whose HDL has been chronically low for years, that shift matters. That shift changes the ratio. And it's the ratio of LDL to HDL, not just the raw LDL number, that most accurately predicts cardiovascular risk over time. Your doctor may not bring this up in a 10-minute appointment, but it's in the literature, and now you know it too. If you've made it this far, I want to say something sincerely. You are exactly the kind of person this channel exists for. Someone who refuses to just accept a prescription without understanding why. Someone who wants to be an active participant in their own health, not a passive one. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button. It tells me this content is reaching the right people and helps me keep making it. And leave me a comment. How old are you? And where are you watching from? I want to know you. Here is what I want you to walk away with today. 1. Your liver makes the vast majority of your cholesterol, and an enzyme called HMG-CoA reductase controls that process. 2. Artichoke, specifically artichoke leaf extract, contains cynanin and luteolin, compounds documented in peer-reviewed human trials to inhibit that same enzyme, resulting in measurable reductions in LDL and improvements in HDL over time. 3. The form matters enormously. Jarred artichokes will not give you this benefit. You need fresh, lightly prepared artichoke or a standardized leaf extract. 4. This is not a replacement for your cardiologist's guidance. It is a complement to it, a tool, one that costs almost nothing and comes with a safety profile that the data consistently shows is well tolerated in healthy adults. Your arteries are not waiting for a perfect moment to start causing problems. They are responding right now, today, to everything you put in your body, everything you do and don't do. The question is whether you're going to give them what they need. And sometimes what they need is already sitting on a shelf at your grocery store for $1.79, waiting for you to finally pay attention to it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.